to roll over to 6 o'clock. Okay, it is 6 o'clock. It is August 14th. We're here for the Common Council meeting here at City Hall on the second floor. Agenda's been posted. Media has been notified. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Tom Kelly. Stephen Jopek.
Here.
Eileen Daniel.
Here.
Kerry Mikulowski. Gerald Anderson.
Here.
Thomas Barnett.
Here.
David Holt.
Here.
Leanne Felton.
Here.
Chris Hannes.
Here. We do have quorum. Please stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving on to number 4, which is public comment. I have a Danny, I believe, C. Oh, if you could push the button, your mic would turn red. There you go, sir.
I'm Danny Lundberg. I'm a Rhinelander resident, a native Rhinelander resident, and I'm one of the signatures on the letter that you have in front of you. And this was produced in response in part to some of the concerns that about 85 people had about the direction that the golf course was headed this year. And it started off as a slow year, and so there was some concern that started. And as you see in the letter that I spoke to Patrick Reagan about, there were a number of items that we were concerned about, and one was the loss of membership. Last year we had 90 members, and about 40 members had left to go elsewhere. The golf course was able to recruit 19 new members, which is good, but still had a downtrending in the membership. The membership's important because in July or late June, early August, there are a lot of tourists here, and they help. When the tourists are here, we don't have to worry about play, but in early May into September, October, it's the membership that maintains play and revenues for the golf course. So it's good to keep the membership up. We also lost a number of players in various leagues, and there were about 70 to 80 players who left and went to play elsewhere, and those were in the men's league, in the Whipsaw League, which was a Monday night league, where the whole league left and went to a different course. The ladies' league also lost players, and again, it's the league players that provide revenue in the off months for the golf course. The leagues help support the food and beverage service, which has had some trouble this year, and the golf course also lost a number of different events during the year. Some were large revenue producers. There's called scrambles, and the ABC Scramble, which is one of the larger ones in the area, chose to go elsewhere, as did the YMCA and the Luther, and about 6 other events decided to go elsewhere. Those events are big revenue producers for the community for the golf course specifically. And so we don't want to lose those. We want to maintain those. I've suggested that because of some of these downfalls that we should reinstitute a golf course committee which was present in years past and operational, but over the structuring changes of the council, I guess the committee went out of existence. But I think that the golf course members who've been members, some for going on 40 years, me for 31 years, 32 years, I think there's a lot of knowledge and information that you can get from the people who know the history of what the course was, how it's changed, the various operational changes that have occurred, how the course has changed. And it's only the players that are out there walking the course on a regular basis who know the specific areas. I guess maybe Joe Anderson knows all these too. I don't want to shortfall Joe, but he's the maintenance head of maintenance. But the players know where all the drainage problems are, the bunkers that are hard to maintain, the parts of the greens that have been burned out because of loss of irrigation, so we would like to have a committee that is responsive to the council and helps the council work with Oliphant to try to continue to improve and maintain and keep the course. I think there's a presentation. I had a chance to look through the slides, and I won't take much of the thunder away from Oliphant's presentation. And it's good to see that we've at least broken even, it looks like, on rounds played. We lost some member rounds. We gained some public play rounds. We seem like we're about even on the food and beverage. It looks like, in the state of Wisconsin, in the northern region, it's estimated that there's been about a 5 to 10% increase in play at golf courses, and so we've at least been able to break even on that. But this is a year that we potentially could have done better. It's these years that we need to be generating revenue. I see that the net income was projected to be about $29,000 this year. Last year's net income, a lot of you were there at the meeting, which was at the golf course, I think, at the time. But last year's revenues allowed the course to buy first earmarked for a mower, but then turned into a blower for, I guess, about $20,000 to $30,000. A range picker for the driving range at about $15,000. New flooring for the golf course restaurant and the pro shop, which I don't really know exactly how much that costs, but another probably $10,000 or more. And started work on trying to get the waterfall back in place. So was able to provide, I think, somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $30,000 for that. It looks like we're not going to have that kind of revenue this year, but we'd like to see if we can build that up for the future. And I think that having a golf course committee to help with some of these things would probably be of help to the council and to the city and to the golf course. So that's all I have to say. If anybody has questions.
Yeah.
So, sounds good.
Thank you. Was there anyone else for public comment? Okay, not seeing that, I will move on. Number 5, mayor's comments. I do not have any at this time. Number 6, public hearings. They do not apply. Number 7A, which is presentations. Oneida Avenue project update. Refer to Mr. Mark Barden from Town and Country. If you could.
Did I turn it off? I turned it off. I know everybody's used to photos for this update. I do not have any. I'm just going to give you a quick recap where we are on the project. We're about 40% complete right now. If you've been out there in the last couple of weeks, you know we're kind of at a standstill. WPS is now complete with the gas main, and Musson is able to resume work. There's about 5 blocks of curb and gutter that was poured last week on Oneida. They're in there right now pouring sidewalk in those 5 blocks. The end of this week, early next week, they'll be in cutting subgrade again. Once Musson's crew is in cutting subgrade and finishing up the storm sewer on King, Anderson, and Conroe, they're going to be in until the end. So we are anticipating around Labor Day they should be finished up with Oneida up to Frederick, maybe the week after Labor Day. Then they'll be wrapping up King. We've been in talks with Nativity. School starts on the 1st, so we're trying to wrap that one up as quickly as possible. And all the other side streets, Pelham, Blackburn, Conroe, Anderson, we should be wrapping those up somewhere around mid-September. Around that time, maybe a week prior, we'll be starting on Courtney and wrapping that up in mid-October. So we have experienced delays, but the overall completion date of October 27th, it looks like Musson will beat that by a couple weeks.
Any questions? Mr. Anderson?
How much of Courtney is going to be done?
From through the intersection of Pelham back to Lincoln.
Do we anticipate any kind of compensation due to our project being completely timetable flung out from WPS's involvement?
I'm not expecting that, Mayor.
Okay.
We're in talks, but I'm not expecting that.
Are we incurring any kind of overtime costs based on their involvement?
Yes.
So, cool. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to B, which would be Northwoods Golf Course update with Justin Fox.
Hello. Thank you for the time. Thanks for letting us in. Got the presentation in there, and I'll kind of go through the highlights and happy to answer any questions. Certainly appreciate the comments from Dan, and happy to work with them in any way to continue to make Northwood Golf Club a great place for the community and for tourists. So I'm Justin. I'm the regional manager. We've got Kelly here as our GM, and then Joe Anderson is our superintendent as well. Going to the objectives, they remain the same as when we started, to provide an exceptional golf course and quality amenity to the entire Northwood community. In addition to that, we want to help develop a master plan for the long-term success of the golf course and the sustainability of the golf course as well. So we did a little bit of that in our presentation last fall, and we were gracious for the capital improvements that we were able to put into the golf course. We got $85,000 approved, and we're able to get everything on our list except for the mower right now, which is still waiting on quotes and a timetable for that. Those machines are still quite far out as far as delivery on those. So And then, of course, want to continue to work cohesively with the city. We got a lot of help last year with the cart pass and bathroom renovations. We finished all the renovations up this year with the bathrooms and appreciate all the help from the city on that. The recap, I hit on the restroom upgrades there. We completed flooring in the golf shop and in the restaurant. And then we also updated some computers for the team there. I've talked about the range picker. The waterfall, we were waiting on parts, but those are now all en route. So we're hoping to have that. Our goal is to have that up and running by the end of August. So we'll be happy to get that up. I know that was a big project, and we want to make sure that we can get it operational for this season. Other recaps, we've verticut the greens twice this year with a machine from OGM, and that just helps the greens to continue to roll very well. Joe's been really great about getting on the roller and rolling the greens, and so the golf course has been in great shape. We've had good feedback there. We'll move on. I'll go to the 2023 revenue through July. So we just sent those financials up last week, but I don't think they got into this packet. So these are kind of the highlights. You can see the full financials there, I think, on the 28th. So yeah, rounds essentially flat. You can see we did go down quite a bit in membership, and certainly a management transition will affect that, and our goal is to just continue to provide a great product and win them back over time. Same with the leagues and with the outings. You know, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but with the golf outings, a lot of times within the community, they'll rotate around golf courses, and we understand that, and it'll definitely be our priority to get them back. Revenue, yeah, golf revenue is up, $3,000. It's pretty minimal, but we'll say flat to last year, and same with food and beverage. So we certainly started off slow. May was we just got started late, and the leagues did start a week late compared to last year, so that affected rounds in May and June. And Dan's right, we do rely on the leagues and the member play in the shoulder seasons when the tourism does stop. So a couple highlights, as far as, we did lose member rounds, but our resident rounds are up 579 rounds through July. So that's a really good number. It's something we were targeting to be, available for the entire Northwoods community, and make sure that we're out there and affordable for the entire community. For those who are members and who aren't members, we wanted to be available there. And then public rounds are up 817 rounds this year. Last July was a huge July. We did over $200,000, $205,000, and it was a tall task to go back and beat that again this year, because that was the highest one on record that we've seen with the financials. So we had a great new outing, the U.S. Deaf Golf Association, which is they rotate around, so we won't have them back next year, but that was a big event for us and helped us get through. It was about a $17,000 event over a course of 4 days for us there. Financial notes, I think I hit on most of these up there. Sorry, take my gum out. 19 brand new members this year, which is really great to see. We did have quite a bit of attrition, but good to see new members and, like I said, the resident rounds up there. All of our outings that we've had this year, we've executed well, and we've rebooked all of them that we've had this year. So some big ones that are coming back again. You'll see in the financials, our labor is higher. We did budget that way to continue to provide a good experience for all the golfers out there. So labor is quite a bit different than last year, but it's something that we budgeted for, and still looking towards the end of the year projection to be in line with that. And already preparing for tourism and kids to go back to school. We've done some specials for locals during the week, Monday to Thursday, to try to get them out there. We've got some coupons, and then also a late summer membership to see if we can maybe grab any of the ones that left for the fall here, as the golf course is in really good shape. Food and beverage, relatively flat. The shortfall we've seen in beverages, which is concerning, that's our moneymaker. But so we've had some transition in leadership in that department as well, and we've ended up expanding hours and made a plan to go back and get the beverage sales, go back out and get the beverage sales with beverage carts out more often than they were. So. And then looking forward to the fall in food and beverage, looking at some special events. Last year we did a Thanksgiving take and bake, which was the first time we did that. We're going to do that again. We're going to try an Oktoberfest event and some other things to keep us relevant and keep the restaurant moving. We'll include the restaurant in some of those events. We just had a meeting with Ski for Light today, so they'll be coming in January. That'll be a big, nice event for us. And then the Heel Creek Dog Dash is on the books as well, again, for food and beverage in the off season. We'll certainly, we're developing a plan right now to try and stay open in the off season, get people coming in the restaurant on the weekends with the silent sports and things like that. So we'll stay tuned for that. Moving on to the golf course. So the course did come out well over winter. We were delayed a couple days compared to last year, but Joe's continued to work hard on the cultural practices, and we did some extra things to the driving range this year, aerified it and top dressed it. We've seen an increase in revenue there of about $5,000, 33% on that, so that was good. Joe's been hard at work on the waterfall. We took some things on in-house to have some cost savings as far as prepping. So we've got an entirely new motor. Over the years, we were putting $3,000 to $5,000 every year into this motor for repairs and things like that. So you'd see it go down for weeks at a time. And so with the capital improvements, we've got an entirely new motor. Joe prepped the area. We've got new concrete in there and a new pump house housing the motor. Before it was just kind of housed outdoors and provided some extra wear and tear. So now we've got it enclosed in an actual pump house, and Joe's team built that in-house as well to save some money. Move on to the projection. Kind of see where we're building out for the projection, and as far as the financials go right now, labor is a little high, but we've got some action items in place to bring that back down, and then we've got some front-loaded expenses that'll even out towards the end of the year there. Golf outings and leagues. Kind of touched on that earlier. Believe we have the same number of outings. We were able to bring in some smaller ones and do some food and beverage with them to classify them as an outing. And so the numbers are not as much as they were last year, but revenue is comparable within about $5,000. The marketing impact, we made a big push at the beginning of this year with paid ads and social media, and then kind of in the middle of the summer we did some radio and then newspaper now this fall. Our numbers still look good. You can see Instagram is down, but Instagram was last year was the first year we were on Instagram, so we had like an 85% increase, so it's just kind of flattened out at this point. But social media numbers look good. And then as far as the city breakdown, the new users, Chicago is our highest new user, so it really is kind of helping us pinpoint, that's our clientele on the weekend, and then during the week, right below it is Rhinelander. So good points there. Okay, capital updates. Last October, we went through the presentation and got $85,000 approved. So far, what we've completed is the golf shop flooring, restaurant flooring. We've got a new range utility vehicle, which before we were using like a 1980 Jeep Cherokee that was not safe. So this is a much safer option. The waterfall, like I said, we should have that up and running by the end of August, and then the new Buffalo blower as well, which will help Joe with labor hours in the winter, in the fall, blowing leaves. And wrapping up with the master plan, we put some of this in our presentation in October as well, and wanted to update with some pricing for improving the bunkers and then the community pavilion there. That kind of wraps it up. Happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Jopek?
Have you received any feedback, like you mentioned, losing membership to, and that's like mentioned other golf courses? Is there any feedback from those that have left for why they're leaving? What's kind of the driving force behind that? Do we have an idea on that?
Yeah, I think the management transition was a big part of that. I think it was the management transition.
Okay. Is that more of like management transition and making capital improvement decisions that golfers didn't agree with or something like that?
No, I think it was the general manager that was
just didn't get along?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ms. Daniel?
Is Kyle still with the golf course?
No.
There's your answer. That's it.
So I have a couple questions. Your cost of goods sold, you dropped from 86,000 to 82. Can you explain that? Is that just based on volume buying or?
Yeah, and that's primarily seen in the golf shop cost of goods. So that's about a $50,000 number that, you know, we've improved it by 13%. So through July. So that's really where we're finding that number. Food and beverage cost of goods are pretty flat to last year, but the improvement is in the golf shop. And I would say with just having more inventory and more brands and things like that is where that's coming from.
Okay. When you have public rounds, do you do any kind of data to see if those public rounds are people within, let's say, a 20-mile radius versus vacationing folk?
The resident rounds that we're talking about, they all have to have
54501?
Yeah, they have to live within Rhinelander or Oneida County.
Okay. And then I know you requested membership fees to be increased last year, which I think council approved. Has that been a driving factor at all with maybe losing some members?
That's a good question. I think, so the membership numbers, the biggest decrease that we saw was in a twilight and early bird membership. So they can only play before 9 a.m. or after 3 p.m. There was 35 last year. This year there was 9. So that was a big decrease right there. A lot of league players that used that membership and a lot of people that left. So, you know, other than that, I haven't had any feedback on the pricing. I know the pricing had not been increased for 4 years prior to that. So we were kind of due, based on the comparable courses in the area, to go up a little bit.
Looked like Mr. Jopek had something.
Was the departure of management, is there any background on what happened there as far as, I mean, was it a mid-year transition? And what, I guess where I'm coming from is something had to happen between management changing trajectory that suddenly caused this signature thing here to happen. So I guess I'm trying to sort out why the manager left and then what the current management is doing that's different from before based off of their yearly plan that
Sure.
would cause such a drop.
Well, the transition with Kyle happened in February, so it was a little late. And as far as HR reasons, I can't get into that. So
the second part is there some clear trajectory that was taken post that departure that led to this happening, this membership dropping off? Because I remember at the beginning of, like, during our budgeting last year, a plan was laid out. This is the trajectory of where we're going, those kind of things. Has anything actually happened that led to that, or is it just he departed and maybe he was popular or whatever, and so then people went with it? or is there an actual change in the trajectory of the golf course that's causing the bleed per se?
I don't think there's a change in the trajectory of the golf course. Whenever you have transition, you're going to have some attrition and some feedback. And I think, having Kelly come in March, was not ideal. We certainly had some learning experiences that we had to get through, but we've straightened all that out by now and, moving in the direction that we want.
Sure, yeah, if you want.
Yeah, sorry. And as far as, just clarifying, as far as the league play goes, it was mentioned in public comment that a lot of leagues, just left, or we didn't get events, those kind of things. Kind of what you said in your, I don't want to say production, I'm spacing on the word, your presentation. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that kind of filters out from year to year. People rotate around, those kind of things, and so it's fairly normal for these kind of bigger events to rotate from course to course, or is that, have we seen more of a drop off than usual?
It is normal for, places like YMCA to rotate courses and things like that, but, we never want to lose events, but when we do, we want to try and get them back as much as we can. And, with the late transition, we're probably a little slow on reaching out, honestly, so that's on us. But, our goal is to work to get them back over time. As far as the leagues go, yeah, we lost a league. I looked earlier today. Our league grounds are at 806. I'm sorry, last year they were at 806, and this year I think they're at about 650. So we do 4 leagues a week times, I don't know how many weeks we've been open, but that's around 10 rounds, I would say, a day.
Mr. Barnett.
That's not right. But.
Mr. Barnett?
So I'm kind of a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I don't like the political banter or the PC excuses. I believe in, Occam's razor. It looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. It's probably a duck. I had members come up to me and warn me that right after Kyle was let go, that we would lose a lot of members to the country club that he is at, which all came to fruition. So I'm just asking for a little respect, not as dumb as I look apparently, but there's one reason why the numbers are down, and that's because Kyle got fired and went over to the other golf course. So I'm sure some of these numbers are in factor and all that, but the majority is because we lost a lot of members due to Kyle being let go, and that's just a fact.
Any other questions or statements? Okay, not seeing, we move on to 8. Thank you for your presentation.
Yep, thank you.
So this would be the second reading. Sorry, I skipped Austin. So we'll be on to 7C, which is update on vacant boards and commission seats. Austin, our city clerk.
So I just wanted to give council an update on what positions are open for our boards, commissions, and committees. I took some time because it seems like during COVID, a lot of our boards, commissions, committees just kind of faltered away. Members, they didn't meet as often, so we kind of lost touch of how many people are actually on all these and what we need to fill up. So I went through old minutes, gathered as much as I could to get an actual living document that we can keep updated to see who's on a board or a committee, how long they're going to be on it, and when they need to be reappointed. So as of right now, we have 1 board review alternate position open, 1 zoning board of appeal position open, as well as 2 alternates, 1 Rhinelander Public Art Commission position, as of right now, 1 ethics committee commission spot, and then 5 historical preservation committee spots. And this is something I'm planning on sending out in a press release to let the public know, but also asking council to kind of assist the city in getting those positions filled, so reaching out to your network. I also went ahead and we created, because in years past, we've just had people apply to be on these boards, commissions, committees, over email or over phone calls or something like that. So I wanted to have a actual application. That's something that's a little bit easier to keep track of, keep organized, and more transparent for the public and council of who actually applies for these positions. So this is something that the clerk's office went ahead and created for use. So yeah, just wanted to give council a general update on what positions are open.
Mr. Holt?
How many total positions are there on that historical preservation? It seems like 5's a lot. I'm just wondering what percentage.
So from
overall
what I
it is.
found, there are 5 positions open on that one, so all 5 would be open. Looking back at old minutes, the only thing I could find was something from 2017 related to that. So it's a board or commission that I don't think has met in many, many years.
So basically, the entire commission has to be reconstituted.
Yep, and I mean, it's 2-year terms and everything, so we would have to get those folks to be reapplied for to kind of recreate that commission, which is why there's 5 positions for that.
And that one's kind of key because we do have one pending building that would need a vote from that commission too. So we don't have a ton of historical buildings designated technically in the city, but we do have one that's going through some renovations. So
I wanted to bring this ahead of council so the public knows, as well as sending out press releases, pushing it on social media, and asking council and members of the community to reach out to folks who would be interested in serving in these positions so we can get these positions filled up. A lot of these positions also, going back in old minutes, there were resignations or someone stopped being on that board or commission kind of mid-term. So there are a lot of terms that would have to be, they might have to only serve for a year to get back to the ordinance saying the staggered terms. So some of these positions are only going to be appointed for a year, but then the next reappointment would be for 3 years or 2 years or whatever it is to get back to what ordinance actually states for these positions. But I do think COVID really screwed up a lot of the membership for these boards.
Mr. Jopek?
So Austin, just to clarify, the intent is when somebody submits this application, this will be revealed to all the city council, the mayor, city administrator, all together so that we see it, or would it just go to the mayor, the city administrator, and then when it shows up on the agenda, then we would know about it?
So with it being the mayoral appointment, anytime anyone applies for it, usually I like them to come through me so I can keep track and get everything organized. Then I pass it along to the mayor for his consideration, but it is the mayor's appointment, so it's kind of based on how he would like to kind of display those.
Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I would like to ask that when mayoral appointments are made, that we be given, if not a copy of the application, at least the some of your reasoning as to why this person is suitable for this, and tell us something about them. I don't think I'm the only one that doesn't know everyone in town whose name might come up just by name. And so usually we don't really know what we're voting on when we approve that. And it would feel better if we had more information.
Yeah, now that we have an application, they could all be included. I have no problem with that or objection, so Mr. Jopek?
I guess for me, I'm in the same boat. You know, I wasn't at the last meeting, but the meeting before that, the city attorney kind of just said like, hey, we have an ethics committee opening, you know, just put out feelers to find folks and have them submit references. References were sent in with no response or even an acknowledgement that they were received. And that doesn't mean that they should be appointed. That's not what I'm saying. It's mostly that there seemed to be a break in the communication for what we're supposed to do, if we were supposed to recommend people, if we were supposed to get referrals still. And so I'm happy that we have that position or somebody to appoint. At the same time, I think I would appreciate, and I think what Gerald's getting at as well, is that we'd appreciate some communication that there is an application there and that it's being considered, so that we don't, like, we're not sitting here kicking over rocks to find people, those kind of things. And then if a city constituent does send an email, that they get a response, because we're talking about a city that's asking for people to sit on committees, and then we don't respond to somebody who could be a potential appointment, that wouldn't be all that encouraging on my end. At least that's how I felt. And so I like this. I think it's awesome. I think it's a great thing. I think that line of communication is something that we can improve on.
True. And I think going forward, if everyone directs them to send it right to Austin versus multiple different people, that would be a good funnel source. That way it's all to one point of contact for that, communication. Because I think in past it's been a hodgepodge of the clerk, the administrator, whoever's the mayor. So that's where it gets a little gray, I think, sometimes, is stuff, people on vacation, stuff like that, too. Anything else for Austin? Okay, moving on to 8, ordinances. This would be the second reading. Mr. Anderson?
Well, I have a question about that. We didn't vote on it at the last meeting. We were told that there were going to be some revisions by this time, and I haven't seen any. I proposed some revisions to the chief and the administrator, and haven't really gotten any response on that yet. So I really think this ought to be treated as a first reading. We specifically did not vote on it last time, even though someone asked about that.
Yeah, I refer to Steve on that one, because, I don't recall offhand if we voted on that or if it was just a voice vote.
We discussed it at the last meeting. There was no actual vote taken, but there's no requirement that you have to vote. It's just that it has to be read at 2 separate meetings. That's what the ordinance requires. So, but Gerald is also correct that if people wanted changes or they thought there should be changes, those were to be discussed prior to the meeting. So, I mean, you can do whatever you want. I mean, it's your council. You can either vote on it tonight or you can push it off to another meeting.
Daniel, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2023-5, sexual offenders proximity and residency restrictions.
Hold second.
Okay, motion and second. Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Anderson?
Yeah, I looked back through the HODAG TV of the meeting, and after the closed session, the mayor wanted to return to this item, and as stated, the city attorney said we didn't need to do anything on that, so then we went on. The rule feels pretty unclear to me in general, still as between first and second readings, but the real point is we need more work on this one. Some of the concerns I have are with, I mentioned last time when it talks about recreational trails, and I'm told that the chief has been working on some changes to that wording, but I'm not sure. I guess there is some change, but I'm just not sure it covers everything. And the other concern, other than a few maybe more minor things, which if I thought it was going to be a second reading, I would have come with a list of proposed changes. The other one I have a problem with is the prohibition on a facility of the Rhinelander District Library. I understand the desire to protect children, and a lot of children use the library. But as you can see from Virginia's report each month, a great many adults depend on the library for things related to employment, for one thing, education, and just their general edification. And the purpose of this ordinance is not only to protect children, but to give these previous offenders a chance to, yes, stay out of trouble by not being tempted, but also to change their lives in a way that they can become productive members of the community. And I think the chief would agree that that last part I said is part of the intention here.
Let Lloyd speak.
Chief?
The reason you didn't get a response from me, Gerald, is because I was out of town Thursday, Friday, but just so everybody knows that we did have a meeting on Wednesday with Patrick and Gerald to discuss this. So I thought I answered all your questions at that time. And regarding your comment about their first question in the email that you sent regarding the sex offender residency board, that's an appeal board that would have to be appointed by the mayor to set that up. We currently do not have anybody on that committee. When this ordinance first came into place, 2019, the mayor at the time thought that would be a perfect job for the Police and Fire Commission, but that's not within their statutory purview to be involved in anything like that. So it kind of died there, and there was never a board or a review panel put up for a person who wants to reside somewhere and can't because of the ordinance. They haven't a process. We haven't had that, so there hasn't been a need for that. Regarding your comment about the library, they can have access to the library. They can go in, they can talk to Virginia and get permission to do that. Obviously, we want people to better themselves and having access to internet to apply for jobs, but also some of those offenders also have restrictions against what they can do with electronic devices. So there is in the ordinance that capability, and that's nothing new. That's been in the ordinance since it was created. That's not something that we're trying to change now. Again, the intent was just to clear up those couple loopholes that we talked about last time. And then regarding your other, the email I saw when I came to work this morning are things that would be grammar or procedural things that I would leave up to our city attorney when it came to writing the format of the ordinance.
Mr. Jopek?
Overall, looking at the ordinance as it is, are you pleased? Is it achieving what we wanted to, or what you were seeking in amending it and making sure it kind of closed out some of those loopholes?
Yes, and I also forgot one of the biggest concern was the definition of recreational trail. So that is in there. It's in your packet. So it clearly defines what a recreational trail is, and a city sidewalk is not considered. Would not be impacted by this ordinance, meaning that a sex offender could walk on the city sidewalk. It's not considered a residential trail. That was met. So yes, the ordinance was the intent when Captain Josh Camilleri reviewed it and knew what has happened in the last 3-4 years since we've brought the ordinance forward, that he wanted to change. These are suggestions, working with our city attorney to get those suggestions to wrap that up.
Mr. Jopek?
And so with regard to the Rhinelander District Library point, is there any historical evidence suggesting that individuals have been deprived of access to the public library, those sorts of things, due to this ordinance? Like you said, it's been in the ordinance before. This is something that was in it before. Is there any instances where we were depriving somebody where they weren't doing anything nefarious, they were trying to, get a job or what have you?
I can't think of it when it was specific to this ordinance, but yes, we have been called. We have received copies of letters written by the director of the library saying that these individuals have lost their permission to be there. So if they go there, they would be trespassing. So there's been other citizens who've, based upon their conduct within the facility, have lost those permissions to be there. But I don't recall any sex offender who's, that, at least off the top of my head, that was denied that, unless Captain, you know of any? Yeah.
Mr. Anderson?
I want to thank Lloyd for the change as far as recreational trails. As we can see when we get into revising ordinances, we always discover other things, like this review board, which is supposed to exist. It's in the same general section, just a couple of paragraphs later, 0.08, I believe. So that's something we ought to look into. I'm not saying that should hold up passing this change. I'm not seeing exactly where it says the librarian can give permission, unless you're including that in subparagraph B, which talks about school, child care center, park, playground, or licensed entertainment facility. Should the library be mentioned in there? Or could it be mentioned, or is there some other point at which that would come up?
We could certainly include the library in that portion, but that's what would be where it would be with permission from the director.
Okay, then I'd like to move to amend to add the library after entertainment facility in subparagraph 3B. It would be at the very end of that sentence. And I would like to also change I'm sorry. It's a part of where's that part go about Santa Claus or trick-or-treating or things like that? Somehow I can't find it right now. But
That would be sub B under 406. Under sub 2, which is non-residential proximity loitering restrictions, sub B of that.
Oh, okay, B, yeah. Okay, this is 2B. In that paragraph, the word proceeding, I moved that be changed to preceding. That's really the intent, but we ought to have the right word in there while we're changing things. We're talking about preceding Easter or preceding Christmas. Does that appear somewhere else too?
So there's a motion. Is there a second for Mr. Anderson's motion?
Can I clarify the beginning of that motion?
Okay, the beginning of it is to add the library to the end of 4.06, well, that's
3B.
05, 3B, and then to make changes of wording from proceeding to preceding in 2B.
Okay, so we have a motion. Is there a second?
Second. Joe Peck, second.
Okay, any discussion on the motion? Mr. Barnett?
I can tell by the body language that our representative from the library would like to say something. Maybe you can clarify some of the questions.
Well, as noted earlier, the library is more than an entertainment facility. It does not belong in that paragraph. We do not judge people we judge people on their behavior in the library, and that is when they will occasionally be asked to leave. And sometimes suspended privileges. Nobody is denied library privileges. Library privileges remain online. If anybody who was unable to come to the library needs a library card, we can get them one off premise. And we have done so. We did hundreds of them during COVID. So putting the library in there to protect the rest of our citizens Just seems like a good plan. Thank you.
Any other discussion with the amendment? Nope. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Thomas Kelly, Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Kieran McLowski, Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Okay, the amendment is approved. Now we're back to still the second reading of said ordinance change. Ms. Daniel?
I would just like to take this opportunity to remind other council members that we have had this ordinance in our hands since last month. And there was plenty of time to read through it, meet with whoever you needed to meet with, send the emails you needed to send so that we don't have to keep having amendments on things like grammar and words added here and there. Because getting these things in place as quickly as possible is actually in my mind, the most important part. So that's all I wanted to say. It's just that read your packets before you get here and maybe we won't have to stay as long.
Mr. Anderson?
Getting it done quickly is important. Getting it done accurately is also important. And we need to be prepared to allow time to discuss any of the ordinances we pass in these meetings. The amount of time on this one is not as much as on some previous ones, and hitting when someone's on vacation is not a predictable thing. Yes, we had discussion last week before the package came out, well before, and I had hoped that we could get something changed by Friday, but with the chief out of town and other things, that didn't turn out to be feasible.
Okay. Not seeing any other discussion. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Carrie Michalowski, Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Tom Kelly.
Motion passes. Moving on to 9, unfinished business, none apply. Moving on to 10, there's been a request to move letter N to the top of the list, which is discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2023-79. This is regarding the Rhinelander area food pantry. I refer to Patrick.
There we go. Yeah, we received a request, it's in the resolution, received a request from the Rhinelander Area Food Pantry to waive the fees associated with the Harvest Hoedown event.
Barnett, I make a motion to waive the fees for the Harvest Hoedown. This is one of those events that I talk about when we put fees on people that are trying to do something really good in the community. And if we keep imposing fees, that takes money out of the pocket for the food pantry, then we're really doing the city a disjustice.
Was that a motion, Tom? I'll second it.
Second. I do have a question for the representative from this.
Hi, my name is Courtney Smith. I'm the Associate Director of the Rhinelander Area Food Pantry.
I'm Guy Hansen, the Executive Director. We just thank you very much. We did receive permission to have this annual event that we have at the Pioneer Park. In the past, we held it at the Woodpecker Bar and Grill successfully for many years, but for several reasons, we thought it would be a good idea to move to town, into town. So it'll be very much the same as it has been in the past, but much more area and hopefully more people. So thank you very much.
Well, and you guys read my mind. My question was, what chose you to bring it into the city, because it was in our township for the last several years? So.
Yeah, I think that it's important to us that it's, as a community event. It is a fundraiser, but first and foremost, we really want it to be accessible to our community members, and we just think Pioneer Park is a perfect fit. We're excited to be present on the last closing day for the historical complex, as well as the farmers market. We think it's just a great fit, and just to really draw attention to our neighborhood park. Cool. Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you. Any other?
I'd be happy to answer any questions about the food pantry for those of you that aren't familiar. Good. All right. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Not seeing any other discussion. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel, Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Gary Mikulowski.
Okay. Okay, now we're going back to 10A, discuss and/or action from Common Council meeting minutes from July 24th.
Daniel, make a motion to approve the Common Council meeting minutes from July 24th, 2023.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel, Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Gary Mikulowski, David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10B, discuss and/or action approving the bills and claims.
Daniel, make a motion to approve the bills and claims in the amount of $2,771,796. Okay, I'm going to start that over. Bills and claims in the amount of $2,771,796.98.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Gary Mikulowski, Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10C, discuss and/or action of mayoral appointment to the Ethics Board. So Winston was the first one of 4 to apply. He's also a member of our community who serves as an election judge as well as has business interests in the city. So that's why I'm putting him forward for the Ethics Commission.
Daniel, make a motion to approve the mayoral appointment of Winston King to the Ethics Board.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seen. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Gary Mikulowski, Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10D, discuss and/or.
Before you move on, Mr. Mayor, I wanted to make a comment because some council members have asked me about this. Technically, we really should change this ordinance to have 2 alternates on this committee. We've been operating with 2 alternates, but I think we did it when we created it 2 years ago. The reason we have to have alternates is because conflict of interest comes up real often on ethics type issues. So I'm going to, between now and the next meeting, unless directed not to, going to bring an amendment that would add 2 alternates to the Ethics Committee. And we do have other names I know that have been submitted to the mayor. He and I talked about this. But we really do need to get those 2 alternate positions. But this will give us the full complement. And I think for the public, now that we'll take our complaints to the committee, we'll have an organizational meeting yet this month, I hope, and we'll get this committee going and active.
I'm going to make it official. Barnett, I make a motion to direct Mr. Sorensen to write up a amendment to the ordinance that allows for 2 alternates on the Ethics Committee.
Before I actually entertain a second, why don't we just have Patrick, who doesn't get paid by the hour, do it? Because that seems relatively easy than paying an attorney that much.
All right, I'll make an amendment to my motion.
No, there was no second.
Oh, there is no second, okay.
So is
okay.
there a
All right.
second to his original motion? No.
All right, I make a motion to direct Patrick, the city administrator, to work with Steve Sorensen. Yeah? No. All right, let's make this. Barnett, I make a motion to direct Patrick to come up with a amendment to the ordinance to allow 2 alternates on the Ethics Committee.
Hold second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Motion passes. No offense, Steve, but Patrick's cheaper. Okay.
That didn't seem necessary.
Moving on to 10D, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2023-69. This is about inspection software. Refer to, looks like Brian, who oversees the department.
Good evening. So this software program is part of, I sit up here and I talk about efficiencies, and this is part of the restructuring of building inspections and stuff, is bringing in some more efficiencies for that department to be able to do their job effectively. Right now, we're finding that the building permits are backed up, sometimes 50 building permits at a time, just because we have duplication of work in 2 different systems. This software allows us to get everything programmed through one spot online, and for our members or our community members to pay through that as well. So and we've worked through it with everybody who is going to be involved in this or affected by this within the city, and we're all in agreement that we can move forward with this program. So we're asking for this on borrowing. You'll see one thing that I noticed that Patrick messed up on, that I'm going to call Patrick out publicly, but it says not to exceed $23,500, but with the $1,800 extra, which is on page 31 of your packet, it actually brings it to $25,300 for the borrowing. The extra $1,800 is to export what we currently have in our systems to migrate all that information out, because we do have a lot of information in there.
Just pointing out that that is in the resolution, that 25,300. It's just on the agenda that it's misrepresented, so.
I apologize, I didn't change that, my typo for the week.
Daniel, I'll make a motion to approve the purchase, resolution number 2023-69, to purchase software suite from Civic Plus for the city's inspection, code enforcement, and zoning departments for a cost of $25,300.
Hold second.
Ooh, Mr. Anderson?
I just had a question as to whether this new system will, I'm coming off of some discussion at the Board of Review about problems in getting reassessments for the city, properties in the city. And part of it sounded like a software problem. And I wondered if this software will interface with that kind of software better.
That's a good question. We can look into it. I don't know the answer to that right off the top of my head, though. But I can look into that for you.
I do actually have a question for you. So as a person who owns a contracting company, waiting 10 business days to get my permit issued is kind of times money for contractors with a short building season. With this new efficiency, do you project those 10 days to be cut down to maybe 7 or 5 going forward?
Probably, yeah. We're looking at it by 50% in half.
So
yeah.
that would then help our contractors actually build our city and move more quickly too.
Correct. And with this program, it brings some other programs that we'll be bringing to you as part of the restructuring of building inspections. So we're working on some other things that will kind of fit into this. So hopefully by the end of this year, we'll be where we need to be with the building inspections department.
Cool. Mr. Anderson?
Just one more thing. I had an email discussion with Ryan about the fact in his report that he didn't talk about delays in permits, but about people not getting permits when they needed them. And it appeared to me that we need to make more publicity, put out a press release now and then reminding people that for the various situations in which they need permits. And he said, well, we should do that if the council tells us to. I'm just putting that out there. I'll ask for it as an agenda item if that's necessary. But
He said Ryan, not Brian.
yeah, Brian. Isn't that his name?
I don't find that to be necessary, honestly. I think we can put that on Facebook. We can write a press release. I don't know that it needs council approval. If you'd want to, if that's what you'd like to do, that's great. But I think we can put that out there.
You're sounding very logical to me.
It's the first time for everything. But, yeah, I think we can put that out there. I don't think that'd be a problem at all. Facebook hit, website, press release at the beginning of the building season. That's not difficult.
Cool. Not seeing any other discussion.
I just want to point out one thing to the council, just so there's not a question in the future. The expenditure is really a two-part expenditure. There's a $23,500 purchase, and then there's an $1,800 expenditure. That's really important because it's not over $25,000. And under our rules, if it would, we'd have to go up for bids and stuff, and then we'd have to have a justification. I raised the issue about the justification because of the 25-3 looks like we need to do that. We really don't need to do that. But I want you to understand that this is a unique program, and there were other programs looked at. But for those of you that know what the requirement in the state is as far as bids and so forth, I want that on the record, so there's no misunderstanding. Thank you.
Okay. With that, clerk, please take the roll call.
Gary McLowski, David Holt,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Tom Kelly.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10E, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2023-70, referred to City Administrator Patrick.
Thank you. Yeah, so I was informed we have a city bow hunt for deer. I would actually go with the chief of police here who is requesting this, but we're looking to hold it on the, I don't remember the dates. This is my first bow hunt, so looking to hold it September 16th through January 7th. So clerk's office will be able to help people with applications. Police department will review the applications and provide permits.
Barnett, I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-70 to proceed with the 2023-24 city bow hunt.
Anderson, second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Gary McLowski, Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10F, discuss and/or approve proposed resolution 2023-71. So this is regarding our well 5, which for some time has not been looked at, that we are suggesting that we take a look at it and do any kind of cleanup, which would be roughly $26,000.
Joe Peck move to approve resolution number 2023-71, approval to accept the quote from CTW Wells and Pumps for rehabilitation of well number 5 for the sum of $26,096.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Gary McLowski, Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10G, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2023-72. I will call on Mark first to give us what this is about. He tends to sit right behind the podium, so I'm always scared he leaves the room and it's like, peekaboo.
I'm gonna one of these times. This is for a change order. There's 2 items on this change order. They're both for a storm sewer pipe, this 42-inch storm sewer. Record showed it was a 36-inch pipe. When the contractor got it exposed, they realized it was a 42-inch. So this isn't a complete adder to the project. What you're going to see is this price per lineal foot for the 42-inch pipe will get paid to the contractor, but there'll be a negative to the contract for the 36-inch pipe that was bid. So the difference is about $25 a foot. The other pipe, the 24-inch HDPE, that was on the north side of Iverson. We had to go under that pipe with the sanitary sewer. Once they got under it, it was a corrugated metal pipe. It was all rusted out on the bottom of it. So we replaced the entire culvert pipe.
Would entertain any kind of motion of any kind.
Holt, I'll make a motion to approve the application of, excuse me, I was one below.
Change it
This
in
is
number one.
resolution 2023-72, approval of work change order number 1 for the Timber Drive Street and utility improvements projects from Town and Country Engineering.
Joe Peck second.
Any discussion? Ms. Daniel?
Hang on a second. I'm seeing a difference. Okay, wait. So what was the total cost for this?
$17,897.44.
Okay, thank you.
$17,800.
Okay, not seeing any other discussion. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Gary McLowski.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10H, discuss and/or approve proposed resolution 2023-73. Turn it over to Mark, but I believe you have a correct number for this one versus what we have in our packet.
Yes. I did not submit this pay request, but I went through the numbers today, and the actual correct amount for this pay request should be $731,425.84. It just appeared to be a formula error in the Excel spreadsheet.
And that's for resolution number 2023-73? Or am I looking at the wrong part?
Yes.
Correct. Any motion of any kind?
What was that correct number again, Mark?
$731,425.84.
Thank you.
Considering that this is over a $500,000 difference, would it be prudent to table this until we can get an ordinance with the correct dollar amounts in it?
I would say no, because I would like them to keep working, to be honest.
Okay.
And what the issue was, I believe, is they didn't subtract, so the 1.2 is the total payout so far if this gets approved, where we already did a pay app. So what we believe happened was in the formula on the Excel sheet was the first payment wasn't removed from the total project. So, and we're paying less than what we promoted.
I will make a motion to approve an amended resolution number 2023-73, approving contractor's application for payment number 3 from Musson Brothers for work on Timber Drive improvements for the amended amount of $731,425.84.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Okay, not seeing any. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Gary McLowski, Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10I, discuss and/or action on proposed resolution 2023-74. Mark?
Yeah, this is for Oneida Avenue, and this is for work through the 26th of July, I believe. This is, what you'll see on this pay request is mostly sewer and water items for Oneida and the side streets, King Conroe, Pelham, Anderson, Blackburn. The total amount requested with 5% retainage removed is $822,163.81, and we would recommend payment in that amount.
Daniel, I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-74, approving contractor's application for payment number 3 from Musson Brothers for work on Oneida Avenue in the amount of $822,163.81.
Jopek second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Gary McLowski, Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10J, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2023-75. Refer to City Administrator.
Thank you, Mayor Hannes. Yeah, so as I think everybody knows now, I sent out an email on August 7th. I received a letter of resignation from the Public Works Supervisor who said that his last day will be August 17th. Immediately thought about the street projects, turned, and Mark and I had a discussion, and could Town and Country take over the day-to-day management and administration of this. Mark said that they could for $15,000. That's why you see the addition to that task order.
Mr. Anderson?
I move approval of Resolution 2023 to 76. 75. Amendment to task order number 25 from Town and Country Engineering, Inc. for administration of the Timber Drive Street and Utility Improvement Project in the amount of $15,000, or not to exceed $15,000.
Is there a second?
Felton, second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski, Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Tom Kelly.
Okay, motion passes. Moving on to 10K, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2023-76. Looks like it's referring to the Phillip Street Bridge water main replacement.
Would you like me to take this?
Sure.
Mayor? So this request for additional engineering, payment for engineering services really stems from this project was delayed. It was supposed to be constructed last year. Part of the delay was materials. The other was having to deal with FERC. FERC is the Federal Energy something. They control all the dams. So there's a lot of requirements from FERC on this project. One of those requirements is that I had to submit a resume with all the materials that were put in, that I had to be out there full-time for construction, which was not anticipated. This 13.6 is with the expectation of me being out there 8 hours a day for the next 3 weeks. That's where that number derives from. It will probably not be that high, but we had to put that in just to cover the inspection as required from FERC for this project.
Daniel, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-76, approving the amendment to task order number 20 from Town and Country Engineering for the Phillip Street Water Main Improvement Project not to exceed $13,600.
Is there a second? Oh, missed by Mr. Holt. Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
David Holt,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10L, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2023-77. Refer to our city administrator.
Yeah, this is another request for a fee to be waived for the Remember My Name Candlelight Vigil by the DVSA.
Daniel, I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-77, approving a request from the Tri-County Council on DVSA to waive the fees associated with their Remember My Name Candlelight Vigil on October 6th at Hodag Park.
Is there a second?
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. Clerk, please take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Tom Kelly,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski, David Holt,
Aye.
Leanne Felton,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10M, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2023-78.
Daniel, make a motion to approve proposed resolution 2023-78, approving a request from the Tri-County Council on DVSA to waive fees associated with the Letting It Go burn ceremony on October 6th at Hodag Park.
Anderson, second.
Any discussion? Mr. Anderson?
It appears that this is separate from the previous resolution because a burn permit is a different category from a park permit. Is that the reason they're separate?
I think they're looking at it like it's two different events. They're companion events, but I think they're looking at it as two different ones.
On the same day?
Yeah.
Okay. Not seeing any other discussion. Clerk, please take the roll call.
David Holt,
Aye.
Stephen Jopek,
Aye.
Eileen Daniel,
Aye.
Carrie Mikulowski, Gerald Anderson,
Aye.
Thomas Barnett,
Aye.
Tom Kelly, Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Motion passes. N we already did. Moving on to 10O, discuss and/or action, proposed resolution 2023-80.
Eileen Daniel, make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-80, approving a request from the Wisconsin Army National Guard to waive the fees associated with the NCO 173rd Army National Guard picnic event on September 9th at Pioneer Park.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Kieran Mikulowski. Tom Kelly.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
David Holt. Eileen Daniel.
Aye.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Okay, moving on to 10P, discuss and/or action proposed resolution 2023-81, amendment to the city budget. Probably refer to Wendy on this one, I suppose. Unless, Patrick, you got everything memorized.
No, Wendy has it all memorized.
It's just really 3 items. The first one is to amend the Pratt budget to reflect the cost of the Oneida Ave local share. The second one is to record the ARPA funding decisions that have been made. And then the third one is just to amend the room tax fund for the allowance of the extra ADA picnic tables, benches that you approved earlier.
Dan, you make a motion to approve Resolution 2023-81, approving the budget amendments as submitted by the City Treasurer, Finance Director.
Hold second.
Any discussion? Not seeing, clerk, please take the roll call.
Kieran Mikulowski. David Holt.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel. Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Gerald Anderson.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Aye.
Tom Kelly.
Motion passes. Moving on to 10Q, discuss and/or action snow removal program on certain city sidewalks. So that's referring to your handout, that's the map of the city. So it's kind of hard to read, but, so the city currently does the sidewalk on the bypass from Stevens to Lincoln, which is highlighted in yellow. And then from Stevens to roughly Iverson, the city already does that because that is a bike trail. Timber Drive, from the bypass to Harvey, the city will be doing, because that's also going to be a bike trail with the completion of that project. So what we're looking to do to see if council has any appetite for us to hold a couple public hearings to see if we want to then remove snow on the remainder of Lincoln, Courtney up to the railroad tracks, as well as the remainder of Stevens. So the rough concept is this is something the city would do. That way all of our major roads have walkability throughout the season with the winter. At this point, doing some rough estimates, there would be probably an assessment of 50 cents a linear foot per property affected of their sidewalk if we wanted to pass the total cost of this project on to those residents. A good comparison is an average city lot is 60 feet wide, which would be roughly a $30 assessment. If they get fined for, and we have to do their snow right now, it's $150. So, but these are rough numbers. It's just one of those, we want to see if this is something council wants us to explore, have a couple public hearings to see something that would go into effect, not this year, the fall of next year. Ms. Daniel?
So is that $30 every time it snows, or is that $30 for the year?
So the 50 cents per linear foot would be per year. But we figured to do it by per foot would be better because someone like Home Depot who owns a city block versus someone who owns, a 60-foot residential lot should pay accordingly to length.
Okay, so if you're going to hold public hearings, my suggestion would be, rather than just putting it in the paper, that we do contact all of the businesses that are going to be affected so that we don't have another issue with people coming back to us saying, I didn't know we were going to get this assessment and now I've got a bill, blah, blah, blah. So I would make a motion to direct administration, whoever that might be, to whether it's you or Steve or whoever the mayor
I
or
like
Austin,
the way you're going with it.
to contact the business owners on streets that are affected by an assessment fee prior to public hearings and to set public hearing dates.
Hold second.
Okay, any discussion? Mr. Anderson?
Well, I don't know that these are all business properties. There might be a few residentials tossed in there.
From a quantity point of view, if hypothetically everything in question is moved forward, it would be about 50-50.
Yeah.
So,
And the other thing, I just like to comment, this sounds like a good idea, because our previous discussions have revealed that there's such a lack of uniformity as to who does the wash and when, if they do. This way they should all be done at the same time, and pedestrians would know if they're going to be able to go down the next block or not.
True. Well, and part of the reason why these were selected, these are high-traveled streets for pedestrians, as well as these are ones that tend to have a lot of inspection department involvement due to lack of removal. So this would then, in theory, free up some man-hours in that department. The 50 cents per linear foot of sidewalk would cover the additional of one more employee to handle that, as well as the cost of the gas, the wear and tear on the equipment. The other reason why these streets in particular were chosen was these are streets that are 2 lanes for the most part going both directions with very small boulevards. So this is something where you have a lot of slushy snow being flung right on their sidewalks with really nowhere to go with them. So those are all reasons why we thought this would be a good starting point to see how the public feels. I mean, in the future, it'd be great if we could expand this to our downtown, maybe Kemp Street, Oneida, to provide a bigger service if it is desired and works out.
I would just like to, because usually it's the clerk's office who does this mailing and contacting, if council could specify exactly how you would like me to contact, whether it's through standard mailing, certified letters would get very expensive, but you would ensure that they actually get contacted, just to specify exactly how, so I'm aware.
Singing telegram, Austin. If I may, Mayor, I think this needs to be, I mean, public hearings are a definite, no, that's no doubt. But I think we need to flesh this out just a little bit more, get all of the properties down and really bring something back to you. I think we're kind of getting out ahead of ourselves here. So if we could kind of just work on this and get this fleshed out a little bit more. But it's something that's, another thing that Mayor Hannes kind of talked about is a lot of these places, the sidewalk is right on the street because you have very small front yards, front right of way. So as soon as somebody's clearing this, snow's getting flung on it again. But I don't want to slow this down, but I do want to make sure we have all our ducks in a row before we go out and contact every person and say, well, this is what's happening. I really want to have this a little more communication with all of you.
Yep. Mr. Anderson?
How much time do you need?
I would think about a month would work. Probably next council meeting, with the council meeting following, we could have something to you.
Well, take your pick.
Well, and it's not going to be fully formed. I'd like all of you folks to have input, and the residents obviously are on it to have, every step of the way. We have conversations about this, so everybody's in the know. Nothing's being held, and it's all out front.
Well, I move that this be tabled till the next council meeting to be fleshed out further for us.
Hold second.
We technically have a motion prior to that and second on the floor, so you're doing an amendment, right?
The table.
No,
The
table.
Oh, sorry.
Postpone.
It's been a long day. So, okay, we have a motion second. Any discussion? Nope. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain? Nay? Motion passes. Okay, moving on to, what are we? 10R. Discuss and/or action of Golf Course Advisory Committee. Refer to you.
So obviously we heard from folks from Kathleen and Danny Lundberg, who have been in my office a couple times. Good people, passionate about the golf course, and that's pretty cool. They want to see that thing succeed. If you read their letter, one of the things that they had was forming, and Danny kind of talked about it, forming a committee. I'd see this as an advisory committee, something that I'd love to work with and bring different, just so we can get some of the players and members so we can get their input. Sometimes we're in such a rush to do X, Y, and Z that we're forgetting the customer, and we need to remember that customer. And that's what they are, as customers. So I would love to work with them, advisory committee, maybe 7 people, 7 members out there. And I've already asked them for names, so we can hit the ground running and get some ideas.
Ms. Daniel?
I have big feelings about this. Those who've been on council with me the whole time know this. An advisory committee is great. It should be made up of people from the golf course, staff and citizens and people who play golf. It should not be an alderperson position. I don't believe that we need members of council on that committee. I believe the numbers that we saw today, believe it or not, aren't that terrible, because we're not in the red. Yeehaw. The fact that people are leaving, it was clearly we have found the reason, right? So it's not so much that we're not going to find another Kyle. I mean, Kyle had a cult following at the Northwoods golf course, right? He's left. People have followed him to where he is. There's nothing a committee or a commission or an advisory board is going to be able to do to change that fact. So I would suggest that as this committee or commission or advisory board or whatever you want to call it goes forward, they're more focused on recruiting new people to come play golf and not rehashing all the old stuff that they rehash every time. So I've gone back and read. We used to have a golf committee. Tom Kelly can probably recite all of the things that happened on those committee meetings. However, it was, I think, almost strictly alderpersons, if I'm remembering correctly, and their meetings were very brief, and they many times were an excuse. They met at the golf course, then they play golf. I don't want to see that happen again. Mostly from an optics point of view, for people looking at city council, but also because the city doesn't need to be paying money to alderpersons to go to committee meetings. Dead stop.
Mr. Holt?
Yeah, I think everyone in the room will be surprised that I completely agree with Eileen here, especially on the first point. I do think that some type of a citizen community, golfers, advisory committee might very well yield some very positive results. I don't think that I agree that it shouldn't be the council or anybody on the council.
How would council feel if we expanded a little bit and just make it for that whole property out there? So that way it's forcing them to look forward with the Hill Creek and the development of that whole green space as a whole, which involves golf, but then it's a whole complex.
It depends on, I would say, it depends on what you want out of this advisory board. If what you want out of this advisory board is a way for the golf course to make money, then you need people who play golf and the people who work at the golf course. Because as far as I know, Heel Creek and all that other stuff doesn't make the city money. So if this, because the city's running that as a business, right? This is a business enterprise for the city. So if what you're looking for is people to tell you how to make more money, then you need golfers. If you want to turn Heel Creek and that area out there into a money-making venture, then I would look at expanding it. But right now, it's not. Right now, it's just a recreational Parks and Rec entity.
Mr. Anderson?
It doesn't make sense to me to expand it either. I think we're talking about dealing with the operation of the golf course and having input from the people who use it makes sense to me. Is that something that should be fleshed out for the next meeting?
No, I believe it could. Yeah, and when I had spoken with the Lundbergs about this, I said this is advisory. You know, this isn't like the old committees that we used to have. At least in my mind, it wasn't. This was advisory, making recommendations. Working with Justin Fox, who presented earlier, and saying these are what your people are thinking here. These are what they're looking at. This is what they're looking at. That's what I was looking at. Total advisory, non-policy making.
So it seems like you guys are open to the concept. I mean, with that, I would say we move forward, right?
I would say, I don't know, it needs to be fleshed out so much as I'd like to just start meeting with them, honestly. Start hearing what they have to say, meet monthly. I've also asked them, I said, you know, can we make sure that this stays positive? This isn't just a public complaint session, that we try to find ways we can make this better and realize that, you know, it's going to be a process. It's not going to be a simple fix.
Ms. Daniel?
You guys may not have the answer to this. Do we do a member appreciation night at the golf course?
I have no idea.
Not to my knowledge, but that would be limited.
That seems like a great place to meet with the folks and give them a free drink and say, hey, you've been playing all summer. Maybe it's the last day of the official season. You have a membership appreciation night. You say, hey, here's something to fill out. Tell us what you thought of the golf season this year. What did you like? What didn't you like? Do you have any suggestions? That seems really basic to me. But what do I know? I don't play golf.
I don't either, not well.
Does putt-putt count?
Putt-putt, I'm terrible at that too.
Okay, so with that, moving on to 10S, City Billboard. Refer to you, Mr. Patrick.
So I spoke with Lauren Sackett from the chamber, just to see what they had paid. They had a billboard done. My understanding was they had one not too long ago, and they said it was like $1,800, $2,000 for a wrap on theirs. I'd figure ours is a little bit bigger, $3,000, but we need to clear some stuff away. Need to get costs on getting electric out there if that's what you folks want. And, you know, we can put something up for us. We can do whatever you'd like with it. But, I mean, welcome to Rhinelander is always a nice thing to have.
Problem is where the billboard is not very high visibility. And the fact that we got this thing and have yet to utilize it makes me think we don't need it. Pumping more money into something we don't even use right now doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I understand that it's to improve it so that we can use it, but I don't see a use for it, in my opinion.
Mr. Holt.
Yeah, my first thought would be to say, well, what would you like to do with it? Patrick asked, sell it immediately. Last time I drove up 17, it is one of, I think, 3 or 4 billboards in the proximity. They're all on the same side, the only advertisement is available and a phone number. It's not even the only one that's not utilized on that stretch. It's not very well, it's not very visible at all, and it's on a stretch of road that isn't highly trafficked. So the suggestion of using taxpayer dollars to try to improve it by adding lighting, for example, I think this is just throwing good money after something that was already a bad decision to begin with. That was a 4-4 vote on council that you split, Mayor. And so it was by no means a unanimous gung-ho decision to do this. The way it came up to begin with was as an unagendized aspect of a closed session, which is not even appropriate for a closed session item because it's not dealing with a competitive contract. And then slid into a consent agenda so the idea was to just vote on a collection of things and have them all pass. I think I've made my feelings known for this. I would certainly not be in favor of spending more money on this.
I think Mr. Jopek was first.
When the original vote came to buying the billboard, there was discussion of business plans as far as how to make it economically feasible beyond DOT permits, clearing light fixtures, all that stuff. And there was discussion about the tourism board and other locations and events wanting to have that billboard, as they would pay money to the city to promote whatever they were doing, or potential for. Like, it wasn't a set deal. the request was put out for, is there a business plan for the spending? And yeah, it's $4,000, whatever. Again, it's 4,000 taxpayer dollars. And so I guess with that conversation with Lauren, was there any expressed interest from the tourism committee, from any businesses, from anybody that wants to that wants to utilize this? Because that was kind of the point that council was, or most of council was, or not most, half of council was trying to make when the purchase came up, was that a business plan, something that like could get the oil the gears a little bit, would be reasonable. Outright purchasing, and then now we're talking about, this is the exact conversation we had. We talked about sinking more money into a billboard, and we're, here we are at a council meeting at 7:45 talking about it. So I guess I'm curious, is there any anybody expressing interest, not in buying it, but in promoting their events, Country Fest or somebody?
Not that I've heard.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm just going to be outright not in favor. I wasn't in favor of buying the billboard in the first place, and I know that there's such thing as the sunk cost fallacy, but in this case, it's not fallacious. It was a bad decision from the get-go.
Mr. Anderson?
Well, I voted for it because I thought there might be a use for it. I see now that nothing has been done as far as clearing the views so that anybody can see it. Do we have an estimate of what that would cost? It seems like the lighting would be much more expensive, but being on the wrong side of the road, anything we can do to make it visible would seem useful if it's not too expensive.
I'm assuming clearing we could do in-house, right?
I would think so, yeah. It's finding time in the schedule of streets.
So.
But first we need something to put on it.
Or just what direction to go. I mean, the directions are, sounds like most here want to sell. We could try to rent it. We could try to make it a welcome sign, whatever. It's more, we're looking to see what direction you guys want, and possibly a motion just to move it on, so.
Barnett, I make a motion to sell the city billboard in question on the agenda.
Holt, second.
Any discussion on the motion? Mr. Anderson?
I can't believe there's a buyer. If those others out there aren't getting used, I can't see any commercial person wanting to use it. I think a welcome to Rhinelander is sounds like a fallback that we should use, but first we'll have to make some effort to try to do something with it. And I haven't seen any effort, but I just don't think trying to sell it is going to get us anywhere.
Mr. Holt?
I mean, all we can do is put it up for sale, right? The bad decision was already made. I wasn't part of it. So I think there was a vivid discussion of why this was a bad decision at the time. And so, yeah, I seconded the motion. We can see if there is a buyer. There you go.
Okay, not seeing any other discussion. Clerk, take the roll call.
Gerald Anderson.
Nay.
Stephen Jopek.
Aye.
Eileen Daniel.
Aye.
Carrie Michalowski. Tom Kelly.
Aye.
Thomas Barnett.
Aye.
David Holt.
Aye.
Leanne Felton.
Nay.
So just as a question for you, Steve, if this were to sell, I'm assuming the funds go back to the room tax account since that's what was used to pay for it, correct? So how would that work?
No, if you sold the sign, it's now an asset of the city. If the city sells an asset, it goes back into the general fund.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't owned by the room tax. It was owned by the city. And how we bought it is essentially immaterial. But it's the city property, and if the city sells property, that goes into the general fund. Now, you can designate it to a certain place, but it would generally go into the general fund.
Okay, with that, moving on to number 11, monthly reports from departments.
Holt, I'll make a motion to accept the monthly reports from departments as presented.
Anderson, second.
Any discussion? Not seeing. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Reports accepted. Moving on to 12, future agenda items. Mr. Holt?
Yeah, I'd asked in the last meeting to have some discussion about formalizing a relationship with Habitat for Humanity in the area, as they've expressed interest in purchasing more city lots. They've already purchased some and building on those lots. And it's not on this list here. And so the two questions, one, I would like it on that list. And the second is if there was any discussion or reaching out made, I would like to get some feedback from the city administrator on whether he has made inroads in that. Sure. The first thing we did is we had Mariah actually did a great, well, she's gone now, pointing over there and pointing at Steve, I guess. Mariah got together a list of all city properties and the size, the acreage that was available. We plan on making contact with Habitat with that, bringing them the list. There you go. They can see exactly what is there. It's got the parcel number and everything on it, so we're working on it. Thank you. You bet. My pleasure.
Mr. Anderson?
I see state parks update is already on the list. What I'd like is an update on the temporary state parks and how that's actually going.
We've actually seen usage out there of it. Not a, you know, it's not like a full-fledged skate park, but we've seen a lot of usage out there from all different ages. So it seems to be going pretty well. Admittedly, I'm not camped out over by Hodag Park a lot, so, but I've been hearing from different folks that it's being utilized.
Cool. Mr. Barton?
Complaints from neighbors?
I haven't had any. I have not had any.
So, Mr. Barnett?
I'd like the actual skate park and updates on it, where we're going to go from here with Randy's resignation. He was an intricate part about getting that to happen, and I'm not going to let the skate park drift off into forgetfulness with the city. I will be here championing about it every single meeting if I need to, so I want to see it on the agenda.
Where are we at with that anyways?
Well, we received some proposals back for engineering on there. There seemed to have been a disconnect between so they put a group, the Overett group, and some other folks from Art Start into this group to look through all the engineering proposals that were received. And there seems to be a disconnect between what city staff wanted and what these folks wanted. And so we're going to revisit that. Setting up a meeting for next week, spoke with member Melinda Childs from Art Start, and we're going to be revisiting that. Basically, they wanted one organization, one business to do it, and city staff, members of city staff wanted a different organization, and there seemed to be a disconnect, and I want to revisit that.
Okay. And I don't know if Mr. Jopek, if you had anything else, or
It fluttered out of my brain as we went on to the next topic, so I'm not even going to try. If I think about it, I'll email you.
okay. Okay, with that, our next meeting, move on to 13. Our next meeting is August 28 at 6 p.m. It is 7:53, meeting adjourned.